Som. Gravando e sincronizando o microfone. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Eu Acho. This is my podcast and we are trying something new. After a long time, I'm back and I have a new scenario with a new mic and also new topics and references and also formats. We are mixing languages and this is not something new, but I guess now we are mixing even more stuff. So we're gonna talk about movies, and I wanted to talk about every movie that I saw in 2024. So I got very lost because there's so many and there's so much what I want to tell about each movie. So I decided to do a little filter and I took just the ones that were incredible or just the ones that were like, okay, I really hated this one. And that's why I also want to talk about it. So I want to figure it out why this was so bad. So there's so much in between that was also teaching me a lot, but I am just talking about here the ones that I really did an effort to write and review, and I'm doing this as a hobby. I told this already in my last video. I decided to do this after seeing an option in Femingo's channel, and there she talked about so many options of how you can do a review of a book, of a movie, of a series, but do this more visually. So if you don't know me, I am an actress. So I always loved this. I am in love with movies and plays and also books and everything about it. But I guess cinema was not really having my heart until the pandemics came, and then until I decided to do more active videos for YouTube. So this is new territory. I were not a person that would want to go to every movie ever, and I realized myself going more to the movies than to the theater. So I guess right now I am in a moment where I am enjoying this more and I am appreciating every movie that I can see, that I literally want to see, and not just because I want to do a review about it. And I'm watching them on Netflix, on my TV, and sometimes when I go out. So that's it. This is going to be about every movie that I found worth to talk about until now, so far in 2024. You can check it out, this video, sometimes if you're on Spotify or later, because I'm also sharing now my screen. So yeah, this is like my personal notes and screenshots, my good notes, and that's it. I guess that's no problem with this, but you guys can also let me know if there is any big risk in sharing these images here. So then maybe we don't have a video anymore, but so far we do have. So if you wanna see, you can also see. Starting the Screen, Bildschirm, teilen, jetzt. You probably see this everywhere, anywhere, everywhere in my screen now. Okay, sorry, but I haven't overcome Dune yet. And there's 3 major reasons for my love for Dune number 2. But I also think that I saw the movie 1 and still wanted to see the movie 2. So it's not like I hate it, but it was not making me fall in love with this history anyways. So I gave just another chance. I went there without any expectations. It was just the first only movie interesting to see in the kino in this town. And then I was like, yeah, let's see Timothée. And then it was a woe of a movie. So the 3 reasons that I put it here that are, for me, basically the reasons why I liked Dune 1, and at least what I like the universe in general, not just specifically the movie number 2, but it is this whole history which has everything that I like. First, this talks about the New World and many languages and different cultures and people, and also makes a lot of politics and religion. Whoa. Second, this still has this magical feeling and everything is fantastic. They have powerful drinks. There is this little thing that you can drink and will make you feel things. And there is some sort of power and mysticism and also this big giant form. So yeah, that's something that I just love it. Could be even more, and I will adore. And I like the way that Dune brings this not so in a exaggerate way. It's still keeping this very realistic. So I like it. And this is exactly my third point, that this mix very well the unreal with this also still real possibility of things going on. So these are the 3 reasons why I like Dune in general. Maybe because I'm an actress, I'm also watching every time. I'm now watching also the cinematography. We're also going to talk about this here as well, but mostly what impressed me always are the actors. So first of all, the one. He's a little cute, but always with the same face. And I make a note on this because he's everywhere. He's doing everything. So there is a time where you have talent, you work for this, you are worthy to be there, but there's also a part of me there's like, whoa, every movie I see now is with him. Like, why? Yeah. So there's this. And then I find him anyways perfect for the job. He is someone that can do a character being very sensible. I mean, the first movie I saw with him was Call Me By Your Name, and he has the sensibility. He has the ability to talk many languages, which is already interesting for me as well as an actress with my research that I have. And he himself has made a lot of movies that show this tenderness. And I think Paul Atreides has this as well. But then he also have a power and an aggression or just a lot of authority within himself, which I saw the first time in the movie that he did for Netflix, which calls Oh, the King. And whoa, this movie changed my eyes towards him. I was like, this guy will do a lot of movies after this one. And after this, he just did everything. So I think he is perfect for the job. He has the sensibility, but he also have this mystery that every hero should have. So he's just perfect. And then there's a lot of women very, very strong in this movie. That's also something that I like. And there's just new women coming up and they are all incredible. But mostly I also took a note here, like why they are, for example, the Bene Gesserits, why they are just always in the shadows, why they are just in the background of the power. If they have the power, they have the voice and they still stay in shadows. They still manipulate this all from a place of not really having the power to use their voices. And the only one which are powerful enough and created or having their powers as well, but turns out to be a man, then he will reach better chances to conquer things. And so yeah, why not a Paula Atreides and why Paul? So this was a thing. And I put it here that also this tension between women, I like it. I won't deny. There is a lot of conflict between every character in this movie. There is a lot of tension, and this is why this is about religions and politics and war and different people and planets. So clearly there is a lot of tension between people, but I see a lot of tension between women, and especially between these two ones in this Dunes 2, which is like, I don't know, I love it. I find this also weirdly because the mother and then the girlfriend, and this is like, I don't know, I just have no words for this because this is always going to be a little but this tension I like. That's why there's a lot of potential of something here. And especially Zendaya, I would say that her anger is making a lot of sense. As I told here, for example, I don't think that they are in love. And this is not judging their love or not. It's just like the movie doesn't show this as much. The movie doesn't put any focus in their love or their history. There's so many other things going on. So when you see even this take here, they are all alone. So maybe they love each other and they told things for each other, and there are so many parts in the book that they not really put here now in the movie. The only thing that I can see is that we will never have a better idea of the love that they have, because I have the feeling they talked a lot of things without we knowing what they are talking or doing, just them both together. So they're very private in their relationship. That's why I don't really feel the love. I mean, I put it here, this detail of his arm around her, and this detail is very protectiveness, but that's it. That's all we got. And that's why I put it here, that the most what I get from her is her anger. Like, not just from her people, but this is the most from her. And there's a lot of sensibility in every emotion, and especially anger, wood, you have a lot of sensibility there as well. I mean, once you cave into it, this has a lot of truth, and she is incredible for this. But again, not so much passion, a lot of pain and aggression, and not so much passion. And this little, this woman, oh gosh, she's beautiful, and I believe the love that she has for her children, and she is very, very powerful and also very vulnerable. You see a lot of moments where she feels a lot of fears, and she even talked to herself like fears the mind killer. Although she has a lot of power, she is not like everyone else of the Bene Gesserits, so she has something special around her, and this is for the good, but this is also making me personally, not trusting who she really is. There's a lot of conflict between what she believes and what Paul believes as well, so I have the feeling like she's a half villain, and I shouldn't trust her totally. So this is just one of my feelings for now for this. I put it here now, the cinematography, and obviously I'm talking about Dune and probably talking so much more because this is the movie of the year together with Poor Things, in my little opinion. So we are gonna talk a lot about so many movies, and you can jump if you don't want to see my review of Dune anyways, if you don't want to check it out and stay tuned here. But Dune is definitely going to take more because I have been doing this review not just one time. I go back to this. Sometimes I see another movie and maybe this verlinkt or makes me do a connection, and then I am like, okay, let's go back and then let's just complete my review. So this I'm doing a lot. So I put these images here because they just show how impeccable the cinematography from Dune is. Is so beautiful to watch. Has another rhythm. It is very contemplativo. Man, I don't even know how to say this, but you got it. So everything is beautiful. Everything is like an appreciation of what they are offering me. So it's so beautiful. And maybe the favorite of it all, I mean, there's so many beautiful ones, but my favorite is this one from them both, where these blue eyes are just details. They are not too strong, but they are also not too less. So they are just perfect. They are perfect. And I guess I saw Dennis telling a lot of explaining and telling a lot of the cinematography and storyboards that he did, that he wanted to make a human feel on a scale very little and very almost insignificant. And then for me, I get this vibe, I get this feeling. Even here, I told already, this is so huge and they are so little, they are so alone there. But also when I see images like this, what I get the most from Dune is the contrasts. I mean, sometimes this is too colorful, sometimes this is black and white, sometimes this is too little. But for something to be too little, something else must be too big. And for something to be too bright and too warm, something else must be very cold and very dark. So Dune works a lot with this opposite of forces, and not just in a metaphorical way and politics and religion and everything around us, but also visually it is represented here, this exaggerament and also the light and the shadow and all of this. I mean, just impeccable, my god. I guess to edit up Dune, I would put, as I told already, that Dune is very contemplative. So for me, the eyes have a lot of impact, and this is something that we have from theater because we do have a presence there and we do communicate a lot with our eyes in life in general. And I guess cinema always tend to focus a lot in this eyes as well, but how to communicate this through a camera is pretty hard. I mean, you can't really see my eyes, and if you can, there is something else between we. So the sensibility through the eyes is something that is very hard to get, and I guess Dune get this. Not just because everyone else in the desert is mostly full of everything and all what you can see is their eyes, but also because everything has a dimension and every piece of the cinematography is very dedicated and beautiful. So you want to see this. You want to see the sun going into your eyes. You want to feel that all what you can offer from your body through the world is your eyes, because everything else is covered. And you want to see the scales, and you want to see black and white, and you want to see everything. So I guess eyes, and not just the eyes of each character and each moment of the movie where we actually can see something through their eyes, but also the eyes of we as public sitting and watching and being like, I am aware that I'm watching something now. I am pretty aware, and I go there. My neighbor just go out. I don't know, but if you hear anything weird in this video, it's because my neighbor is really weird. Let's end it up just telling the Dune to fill my cup with the satisfaction of watching art. It worth the time. It's a huge work and a huge team, and they did it really well. And it's very hard to do something over and over again, something that was a book already long ago, and they actually already did movies about it. So you have to redo it. And how you do a history that already exists, but do it originally with the new techniques and actors and knowledge that we have now. So I guess they did it, and it is beautiful to see. Here is pretty cliche, but it is beautiful to see the changes between the two movies and between the characters and between the cinematography. Is feeling like time has passed, and these transitions, I love when they can happen, not just through a movie but also from one to another. So let's talk about the number 2. You can see how little this is and how, I was not so motivated to do this, but actually it was a fun movie. I mean, I would recommend it. It calls conto, dich, fadas, perfeito. Maybe this is not the translation for your language, but it was fun. I don't even know if this was Spanish or Italian in original, but it was pretty interesting. And this is on Netflix, and I guess the biggest thing is like, this is a very cliche movie. You know, the two guys that really don't like each other, but then they are friends, and they actually want to impress or make their partners or their exes jealous. So it's the cliche, and it's funny and has comedy and has romance, but this time they must do it differently. It was what I also talked about Dune. Okay, the history repeats itself. We know this. We have seen this before. So how are you gonna tell this differently? And they did it. There's a lot of voiceovers in this movie. I mean, the characters, they are also telling their stories without this being a dialogue. And there's an element very beautifully from the beginning until the end, and every time we forget that they are triggering me and doing this with me, but they do it again and we fall again, which is like, okay, so the history is going on and then something bad is happening and everyone is like, whoa, wait, this is not what I was wanting to see. I wanted to see soft, light movie, so what is going on? And then they are like, whoa, wait, let's go back into his history. So they go back and they tell another version of this history. So this is not even a spoiler, this is how they tell the story. So there are so many different stories that are possible. And there's always a way to expect that this will be like this. And sometimes they trigger you, like, wait, they are not going to go back now? And you really go on and on and on and on. This really just always surprised me. At least me, I got always surprised. So this was a huge lesson of how to make something even cliche in a very original way. And also the cinematography was incredible and also beautiful. I just haven't had so many photos to put it here. And yeah, a great movie. This one I saw in Berlinale. I also believe I talked about this in an old episode here, but it was also in Portuguese. And this is from Pia Frankenberg. This is from a time ago, but not so long ago. And I would say this is super actual. This is like, this could be now. Nothing have changed. This could be now. But the fact that this is black and white just give me the context, so this is an old movie. But this could be now. If this would be not black and white, no. So this is like a little biography from Pia. She is the actress and she's also the director, and she was also her own producer. And this is so funny, but this is a very critical movie. This is a very cultural, in the same way that it is a very personal movie. The movie is built in little scene. It's not like, here's the history, the beginning, the middle, and the end. No, they really put little scenes, and there is this woman there taking notes, talking with her about how it is to be a director, how it is to make a movie. So things are going, and it is just feeling like a documentary, but then it goes back to feeling like now this is a movie, and there's a lot of meta, and is beautiful, is very interesting, has a lot of insights. This was made in Hamburg, is very, very funny. One of the examples is, for example, this little scene here, where I thought that this is very cultural, because everything of this, what she is showing, is something that Germans do a lot here. And in real life, this isn't funny. In real life, this is just stressful for we as immigrants, but for themselves, Germans with Germans, like. But then in the movie, in a theater, is like everything is funny. Everyone is laughing about it and recognizing themselves like, yes, this happens a lot. For example, here comes an old guy and then he's telling that this child is still using a chupeta. I don't even know the name. Like, but the child is using this, né? And then the old guy just took it. I mean, he's holding this. And then telling, this baby is old enough, shouldn't be taking this. And then this mom is like, and you are old enough and can't even walk, so I would take this. And then she takes his stock, his muleta, and she just keep walking. This scene has like 3 Sekunden. It's very, nicht 3 Sekunden, aber Minuten. It's very short, it's very little, but it's little pieces that are incredible. Like, I can see how alive she was, how immersed in her culture, how she was living this, and just making her life a movie. Like, she was living this. So beautiful. I saw in Berlinale. I don't really know if this is possible to see anywhere else, but incredible. If you have any chance to see, I would just only recommend it. Especially if you live here in Germany, or if you learn German, or if you are interested in this culture as well. Is a very, very good movie for making it funny but also critical, from Germans to Germans. This is the masterpiece, and this one I did a podcast in English, so you can figure it out. That's why I'm not going to talk about everything, because I did already my review, but just to tell that this actress is amazing. I am following Emma Stone since a long time, as many people are. And now I guess she just found a perfect match. They did The Favorite together, and now they did this one. And there's another one coming this year, which I'm so excited to see already, which is Kind of Kindness. And Georges, he is a Greek. Grecian has a lot of to do with the origin of theater itself. And it has something in his movies which brings it back, this strange feeling. But the strangeness is basically theoretical stuff. Like, it's not strange, it's just mentioned, it's just humans, it's just theater. Like, it's just a figurative way to show this. So I find awesome the way that he sees the word, and the way that people are now in cinema finding the companies that they used to be and used to have in theater, for example. Like, you would just need the right people to do the art you want. For example, let's have the director that I like to work with, and then let's have this person that I also agree with their aesthetics, and let's work together. So what I see is that they are finding this boundings and this Verbindungen that makes sense. It just makes sense. So it feels very theoretical. I guess in general, this is a movie that talks about being curious and being reborn, literally, and go for it, discover the world. I like the idea of having chapters. I like the end that it has, is beautiful. So if you want to check it out more about Poor Things, if you also saw the movie or not, I really recommend that you see and hear my podcast here on YouTube, on Spotify, because there I really dived into. This was like one of my favorite movies of the year, if not my favorite. And then I really talked about everything I wanted in this episode, because this deserves 40 minutes, half an hour just for this, but it's incredible. The artistic version, the casting, all is beautiful, and these two ones I just love so much. Like, was ridiculous. I felt also like a child laughing about ridiculous stuff in this movie, and I also felt the pain of huge problematics that we have in our world, of mental illness, of depression, of power, of genderness, of abortion, of capitalism, of poverty. So what this movie did is something that there's no way we can go on life without seeing it. There's no way we can go on in general. So this movie was beautiful, is a must see. There's so many references, it's so well done, and yeah, I just can't stop talking about. So if you want to know a little bit more, my insights, my review, I recommend you to see and hear my other episode just about this one. So now comes, I guess, the final two ones, which is two bios as well from two singers that I like even, but I really didn't knew the history of Bob Marley or the whole history of Amy Winehouse. And I guess they are very, very good movies. They have another purpose. This is not something like Dune or something on Netflix or something like Poor Things. They have another purpose. I have this knowledge and this awareness when I go to the kino and I'm going to see Bob Marley or Amy Winehouse. I'm going there with a mindset that I don't even expect much about the cinematography or blah blah blah. I want to know the history of this person. I go there because I have a relation, or I at least go already with this mentality. And I would say for both of these movies, this went pretty well. I got out of this kino like, whoa, thank you. Thank you, because now I know the music of them, now I know the history behind, and this is so incredible, because I would even start with Amy Winehouse, because this I saw one day ago, and I was a huge fan. Although she died when I was 11, I was already a fan, and I was really getting to know who she were, and already liking her songs, even though I was like a young teenager. And then she died. I was really, really sad and upset. So this is incredible how she reached in so short time a very, very large publicum. Even in this movie, she is doing an autogram for a kid. And I was like, whoa, this would be me, because she really reached a lot of people with her music. And although she were talking about very specific stuff, very personal stuff, she reached a lot of people. And this is beautiful. The more I did my reviews, more I learned how to also put the names, and this is interest, because in the beginning I wasn't even doing this, but now I am putting more the names of this director or the actors that I want to really remember. And this one of Bob Marley is like, he did already Barbie, and then he did The Away, which is a very, very incredible series on Netflix. And then he is also in Peaky Blinders, so he's already incredible. And he did a Bob Marley, which is like, whoa. I mean, he is this guy, and he did this guy. I love movies like this as well, because it's like a cosplay to a whole nother level. It's like, whoa. He did very well. the Bob Marley that I was even like, I don't really know Bob Marley. I haven't even seen any show or presentation of Bob Marley. I just know the classical, typical songs of Bob Marley, and now I saw him, and I was like, why he's putting this hand in his face when he's singing? This feels weird, because I'm paying attention in his acting, and then I go out of this movie and I go see the real Bob Marley, and he's doing the same thing. So nothing is gratuito. Nothing is there because we just wanted to. No, everything has a reason. This is Kunst. This is einfach Kunst. So incredible actors, and also she, Lashana Lynch, she is from Woman King, Mulher Rei, and she is amazing. And these are little things that I'm learning after doing reviews, which means I saw Barbie, I saw Woman King, and not always the connection is made. First, they are very good actors, and second, the movie is very specific, and third, sometimes my memory is just not the best. But now, when I just do a little research, the thing starts to connect, and I'm like, whoa, the actress that I already liked, I'm liking again, and now I can also appreciate her work and keep following whatever she's doing. So incredible actors in general in this movie. And one I also have here is Marisa Abela. She was also in Barbie, and she got the chance to be Amy Winehouse. This woman is singing Amy Winehouse, which has a very unique, special voice, and she is doing her own version of Rehab in the end of this movie, which is like, there are some parts of this movie, I know I'm talking about two movies of einmal, but egal. There are parts in this movie, there is a playback, they're putting original songs from Amy, and there are parts where I see that she's singing, and it is incredible. It is one of the things that I like the most in this movie. For example, right in the final, is not really the final scene, but close to the end, she's alone at her home, and then she's just singing acoustic, a cappella in her home, and it's beautiful. And it's just the actress. You see that this came from her. There's a lot of moments like this that she was singing. And this is beautiful. This is very well done already. But then at the end, she really did it. And I was like, Nasa, maybe this is a new version. Maybe they use AI. What they did here? Because she can't really just do the whole music and with the voice of Amy Winehouse, like how she did it, how she copied her voice. How was this possible? She made it. Is incredible, has little differences where you can see that this is not the version that is on studio recorded, or is she singing this right now? Like, this is so with another briefing sometimes. It was her. It was a live final version of Rehab, and it was beautiful. She just rocked. She just rocked. She was like in Barbie, she was just Mitarbeiterin, she was not even to see, she had a small role, and now she is huge. She just did Amy Winehouse. And I saw that maybe Lady Gaga were also casted, or she was also in this idea to play the role, and I'm glad she didn't. One, she's already going to do Joker, so I'm also excited about it. But two, Lady Gaga is already a singer. She is already someone that someday they are going to do a movie about her. Like, it makes not so much sense. I mean, let an actress do the job, and she did the job. It's incredible how someone can do this in the memory of someone else. I guess for them both, the thing is like, they were both movies that they tell this history based in the music. They show the process of creation of this music. They show this when this music were recorded, released, based in the life of this artist of Bob Marley, of Amy Winehouse. They show, for example, that's why this music were created, because there was happening war, and then they migrated to UK, and then they went to, and then they had this, and so you get to understand okay, I am knowing the history through a whole industry that is making money with this. There is another actor, there's not really Bob Marley there, but the music is. So the text is from him, all the message is still there. So this is one of the biggest beautiful thing that I saw, and I just find very beautiful that they keep it, that they really did a very, very well done job of let the music tell the story. The script is very based in how we can make the artist that is already even dead still tell their own story. And let's not just use it for making more money or do anything about this person or impersonating this person. Let's just tell the music still through the eyes and the perspective of this artist. And for them both, they did this really well. I was always feeling like they are already dead. Why we're telling this? Why we're showing this? And then now I get it. I get it because although Amy Winehouse were discovered dead in 2011, there are more than 10 years already where I am like, right, I was a fan and I even forgot her, and was not even long time ago. So this is great to get to know her a little bit more, not just through paparazzi photos, not just through Googling it and any docu. It's just really knowing who she were and an artistic way even, especially. So yeah. And for example, for Bob Marley, I haven't knew that he died from cancer, skin cancer. And for Amy Winehouse, I haven't knew that she was Jewish. And I actually fall in love for Blake, which was her husband even for a time. And if you just see the news, you are like, yeah, this guy, he's a bad guy, he make her addicted. And now you just get the history through a whole other point, and you are like falling in love with her. And it's special. It's just special. The final scene is beautiful. I was waiting for the end. I was preparing myself because this is an emotional topic for me. I am a fan of her, and they did it beautifully. I could cry right now because they did really beautifully. So yeah, I can only recommend as well. So yeah, I guess that's it. These were my movies that I saw in 2024. They were not, oh my god, no. Okay, I forgot to tell the one that I hated. So that's it. These were the movies that I saw in 2024. If you wanna go, you can go. Goodbye. Thank you for staying until here, and come back later. But I'm still going to end with a bonus, which is one more movie, which I haven't liked. I guess this was great because I just talked about movies that I liked here. So it makes sense that I also talked about one here that I haven't liked as much. Und zwar, O Fabricante de Lágrimas. So here's the thing. I'm going to talk about a movie that I don't like. Do I recommend you to go and watch it? You can. And there's some good parts in it and there's some bad parts in it. So that's why I'm going to talk about these movies. Movies that I really hated, I'm not even going to bring and talk. But movies that I haven't liked and I know why I haven't liked and I learned something from this, they are interesting. So let's talk about them. In this little bio that Netflix often offer there, it was telling that this is for fans of Twilight. This is a wolf that, and I was like, whoa, this is fantasy, this is magic, this is a dark romance. Let's see. No, there's no really magic stuff going on, and there's a lot of furos, which I would call in Portuguese, which they just piss me off so much. One example. If I have fever, you would put all my clothes out and then that's it? No. If I do have fever and it is even very cold outside, I'm just coming home after being under the rain, I'm going to come home and I have fever and I'm hurted, you are going to take care of me. Yes, you can. And the scene is still beautiful. There's still a lot of chances for romance after the series. A very cliche one, but okay. But no, this lady just put all his clothes out and that's it. Was you just put a little blanket above him. Stuff like this. No, this is too offensichtlich. Like, please don't do this. Like, you still can do something beautifully, but not for dumb people. Like, we're not dumb. Don't make your public being dumb. Never. Another thing, and very cliche thing, is like, you have a guy here. He is the bad guy. He have a long hair and he have a black jacket. He's the bad guy, isn't it? And we all love the bad guy. It doesn't matter. We will always want to hear the history, see the history of the bad guy with a black jacket, a leather jacket. So that's no problem. What also pissed me is that in every cliche of the history of a bad guy, they will often transform the bad guy into the good guy. So for example, later on in the movie, spoilers or not spoilers, we kind of ended up understanding that all the bad things that this lady thinks that he did, actually he did them for the good reason, or he haven't even did this stuff. And I am just asking myself why we can't love someone with bad parts. I mean, what is the problem of falling in love with the evil? If we are all falling in love with the bad guy with a black jacket, why do we want that he is the good guy in the end of it? Because then when he is the good guy, we are gonna see the other bad guy. So it makes no sense, and sometimes I just miss the movie that will just make the bad guy a bad guy, and that's it. So yeah, the biggest conflict in this movie is like they are both orphans, so they grow up in a orphanage which has a very creepy and abusive director, and she is like doing all the kinds of abuse with these children, and they are not brother and sister, but when they were adopted together. So this is like a false incest. That's why this gets a little dark and there's a lot of conflict around this. They kind of like each other, but this lady is thinking that he's the bad guy, and he's also being like still acting as the bad guy because now they are like brothers and sisters and he don't want to ruin this. So the history could go much further. There's already a lot of conflict. It was a movie, it was a book. That's why a book that is now a movie, I have the feeling that they have a lot of potential to be a very well history, but sometimes they just don't handle it. And I haven't read the book to tell anything, but I don't know where is the mistake for these little things that piss me, for example. If this was already in the book or if this is how they made the movie. And the movie is like very dark, very, very sombrio and misterioso, always this. And this kind of pissed me as well. Like, there are some scenes in this movie that I was even feeling a lot of fears. Like, whoa, this is very, very dark. And this kind of gets your attention as well. But then only for a time. Sometimes you're like, okay, get out of this statement. Please do something else than just being sad and tension and conflicts and dark. So I guess one way that they try to adapt the book for the movie is putting a lot of voiceovers always from her perspective. So there's a lot of poetry even in the voice. That's why I don't even know if the book is this bad. But I know that once I liked what she told something like, you are the scratches and I am this band-aid. I wrote it down here like, whoa, this was so beautiful what she told. Makes sense. She's always using these band-aids in her fingers. Now when I wrote it down this here, I even laugh because like, seriously, you are the scratch and I'm the band-aid? What? This is music. It works sometimes, it doesn't work sometimes. And often, you can see, I haven't talked about music in any of my reviews today. Music is sometimes which is like, is okay. The music is okay. And sometimes I also go out like, whoa, the music is awesome. It's like, Hans Zimmer in Dune, like whoa, or it's like Poor Things, which is made for this movie, right? And the case here is like the music is not made for this movie. They even have Billie Eilish, which is like whoa. So they had the money, and yes, there's some music that are very interesting, but there's some music that makes no sense. For example, if you are in the bed waking up with the person you love after a very intense moment, and then you will put a rock and roll in this moment? No. Instead, this, like, just if the scene is really like, let's wake up. No, it is not the case. It's still like, oh my god, we're brothers and sisters, and this adoptive parents would arrive, and you would put a rock and roll in this time? Like, no. So the music, no. A little bit about the cinematography, so I can end it up the telling about the things that I haven't liked. I found the cinematography great, but even for me, this seems already something like, okay, a lot of YouTubers could do even better than this. I mean, not to criticize or offend anything, but I see that there are some codes and some cliches. For example, blue is for sadness, or every time in this movie, this was sunny outside, but then when something intense were happening, then comes a sound of a storm and then starts to rain every time. If this gets too much, I even talked about this on my review of Poor Things. In Poor Things bring this in a whole new level. For example, this lady killed herself in the ocean, and then she goes in the ship, and then there's a moment where she's back in her old home, and there's water in the ground, and that's why the guy with a gun slips, and there's just beautifully the water element being there, but you won't really notice. Here, I notice. Maybe other people don't, but I see this, I am like, and now will come a storm, and now they will do a blue light. So they did. So this is just too cliche. And then here as well, he was like still being the bad guy, but now we want to make him the good guy. So what we are gonna do, we are gonna put a little sun in his face and also some flowers in the background, but still with a black. It lost me a little bit because it was too obvious, but at least for me. I guess if you get confused watching something, this must be very intentional. Must be something like, I watched Dune and I have no idea what is going on. Great, because this is the idea. Or I go out of Poor Things and I'm like, whoa. But there's another type of confusion, which is like, you don't know how to really tell the history. I don't know, I have the feeling if I'm telling this history to you, you must be here and I will carry you with me. So let's go together in this journey. And then if you lost me, I can't go anymore. So this movie lost me in many times just because it breaks the codes of itself. I'm gonna give examples. In the beginning, she is a child, and then they do a movement 360 that she is turning then a young teenager. So incredible transition from child to teenager with a movement of a camera. Later on, they could reuse this. This is something that they created already, and they showed this public like, this is how we make time pass. We turn the camera, for example. They can do a new code, yes, but mostly don't put on trash something that you already offered to your public. So later on, there is moments where they want to make the time pass, and they do this with a slow motion, which already makes no sense. And then she's running, for example, to the hospital to see him. He was in coma, and this all is in slow motion. And then I am just getting a little lost why they haven't done this in another way. They could have done this with a slide of a camera again. They could have done this. And it's just the thing that I told in the beginning also with another movie on Netflix that was this conto, dich, perfeito. There was a very good example of a movie that was a very cliche movie. Two friends are just friends, they don't want to assume that they like each other and start a relationship, blah blah. And then they have their codes, which is we have voiceovers as well to retell the story. We go back in time and we tell the story again. They have their unique codes and they use it. Here, I just see that they were a little lost about their codes and how to tell this history, which is a cliche history, so you need a very original way to tell this history. Second problem, they also repeat this running with a slow motion. Here, they are, for example, being perseguidos for a car. So there's a bad guy, there's a good guy, then the good guy is the bad guy, and the bad guy is the good guy. Always like that. So the good guy, which knows the bad guy, was like, I'm gonna kill you both. You are all disgusting brother, sister. Which they are even not, but okay. Then he's like going to kill them with their little car. And they do the scene in slow motion. And there's no problem in this. But again, why? You really think that I am shot before dying and I'm going to do the so poetical? Come on, I'm going to die right now. Let's run for my life. There's not conciliation with these moments. Like, you make the public feel something and then you do nothing with my feeling that I'm here ready to feel something, because you just take an opportunity and not establish a contact with my way of understanding this history that you're telling. And the end, happy end, as always. After a whole movie full of abuses, very, very dark and serious movie, I was waiting for a revelation. I was waiting for knowing better exactly which abuses this woman did. Nothing. It came nothing. No revelation. Nothing. And then I was waiting. Okay, then what will happen now? This guy is in coma. Clearly, he will wake up and will be a storm and will be blau. No, egal. It was like, okay, then there's some review or old scenes playing over again. I don't really remember, but then there's 1 second where they are in a bed and they are mom and dad and they are happy and they are married and they have a daughter. You were an orphan child. They were abused. There's not really an easy topic than having a child right now. This guy, he had a lot of traumas and he really beated people in this movie, and he got over it. Like, he was not even suspended in school. No one really figured it out that he beated someone else. I mean, he's not the good guy. He got better, but he's not great. And not just because he's böse or evil, but because if you suffer abuse, not just for him, but for this character of this lady as well, this abuse is still inside you. It's not something like, okay, now let's put my band-aids out and you will wake up from your coma and we are going to be a happy family. No, how this is going to be? You are an orphan. You have so much sadness and trauma inside you. And this relationship between this guy were like awful since always. And then from one moment to another, you would just accept that you fall in love with him now and you're even going to have a daughter and marry. And we can't keep telling stories like this for young adults. We just can't, in my opinion. So, I hope you liked it. I hope the episode could make you some company. I don't know where you are, if you're cooking something, cleaning something, going somewhere. If you have any suggestion of movie or any thought. Also on Spotify, there's a box there where you can leave your comment. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.